What's your greatest accomplishment that you can't bring up in normal conversation? I once held 72 grapes in my mouth and took them out one by one intact. I look at grapes now and can't believe I did that. When I tell the story, I always make it 42 because 72 sounds so stupidly unbelievable. But it was 72. For about 3 weeks, when I was in high school, I held a world record for high score, without cheats or power-ups, on Fruit Ninja's arcade mode. Edit. My score was 1435. I had screenshots on my old phone. This was about 7 years ago now, but I have moved house several times since then, and it looks like that phone is long gone. I spent my entire senior year of college writing only with my non-dominant, left, hand. Since all papers and exams had to be typed, this left only class notes to be handwritten. It was pretty sloppy at first, but by the following May, it was deliberate and angular, like a serial killer's. Edit. For everyone asking why I would do this, I have no good answer. When I was a kid, I found out being a lefty was rare, and I was intrigued. I actually started doing it at work. I was a server and no one ever saw what I was writing, and like every third table would comment about cool lefties were. So it just encouraged me how to practice. By the time I was a senior in college, it was getting a bit easier. Ironically, I met a good friend at that restaurant, and that friend introduced me to my now husband. So for the first like 3 years of our relationship, my husband absolutely thought I was left-handed. Long after I switched back to using the right, I one day had to correct him, privately of course, when I overheard him telling some of his family members that I was left-handed. While the writing was a fun little experiment, it definitely left more questions than answers when someone found out. I beat one of the rarest cancers in the world when I was 14. It would have been more likely for me to have won the lottery twice than get that cancer. If I relapse, I will not be able to beat it a second time. I will officially be in remission this May. I'm grateful for every day. Edit. I had no idea I'd get such a response. Thank you all so much for the golden kind comments. For those of you who asked, my cancer was undifferentiated sarcoma. It's fetal tissue, so if I relapse, it will come back as several different types of cancer at once. There have only been about 100 official cases since 1950 and only 1 maybe 2 cases a year. And there have been no cases where the cancer was found in the face, which is where mine was. I'm 19 now and sit on the board of a childhood cancer and rare illness organization. I teach the art therapy classes there among other things. I tell each and every kid, if I relapse, I relapse. Cancer can kill me, but I will die with a smile on my face. I was given a very lucky second chance. I won't spend it in fear. Throw away 4 reasons that will become obvious. I have a severe medical condition that causes me immense leg pain. For some reason which no doctor has been able to fully explain, when I climax it causes some of the most severe pain that I have ever experienced. Many times when I have wet dreams, I'm awoken from them screaming in absolute agony. I can't fully finish ever. I have to get going and then stop. Once the pain begins, the pain starts as just a little ache, but quickly becomes worse. After starting a new pain med last year, though, I was going at it, and suddenly I was filled with a desire to see this one through. No matter what, the pain meds made the pain less than it normally was. And, for the first and only time in my life, I did it. I finished, even as I was doubled over at my desk from the pain. I'm not fully sure why I did it, and I haven't done it since. But just knowing that I can makes me feel just a tiny bit better. Got permission from my boss to take a half day off because it was my birthday. Use that afternoon to go on an interview for another job. I got the job. Edit. Okay, to clarify. Yes, that was a wreck move. My boss still doesn't know it, but we left on good terms. I started on my new job the next month. My old job was great, but they weren't paying us properly. We barely got holidays off, and our sick and vacation leave is unpaid. My new job is a step down from my old one, but there's more room for me to grow in my career. My shift won't be on rotation unlike my old job. I'd be 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. one night and 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. the next, without night differential or overtime. They actually offer health and dental benefits, and I'll be working in a field I actually like. Creatives. My boss and I are on good terms, and if they plan to make me a better offer that actually includes benefits, I'd probably rejoin, if only because I love the people there. A little late, but I've been 4 months without an episode after 6 months of battling a very debilitating eating disorder. It feels really good to say it and just feel in an overall much healthier state physically and mentally. The only person I really ever talk about it with is my mother, but I always think about every day on how much of a better place I'm in, and how much better it feels overall to enjoy food, and going out to restaurants with friends/family without having constant anxiety/fear. I recently just started dating someone, and hope I can bring it up, but I'm not sure if it's worth noting or not. But thank you for this thread. It felt good to share this with you all. My older brother was bothering me, and we were shooting at each other with Nerf guns. Eventually he went out of my room, only to leave the door barely open, while just standing there, staring. I picked up my Nerf gun again, him being confident I can't possibly shoot him through that tiny crack. He didn't flinch. I aimed, and pulled the trigger. I hit, in his mouth. He was basically biting down on it. He was in shock. I was laughing. He never underestimated my aim again. I met a girl on Yik Yak who was asking for help because of something with her boyfriend. I don't remember what she initially said anymore, but it turned out he was physically, emotionally and financially abusing her. I met up with her several times, offered her a place to stay, and talked her through why he wasn't looking out for her or loving her in a healthy way. Generally helped her see and accept the reality of the situation. Drove her to a law firm downtown a week or so later, and at that point just enabled her escape from the situation. Helped her keep calm, and from backtracking. IDK if it's my greatest anything or something to be considered an accomplishment, but I'm glad it happened. I talk about it occasionally when it seems like it fits with where the conversation went, but I always feel wrong, like I'm bragging or something, when I do talk about it. She did the hard stuff after all. It was really painful and difficult for her. Just feels like capitalizing on someone's trauma by talking about it. Edit. This all happened 4 or 5 years ago now. She was in the US on a 6-month visa specifically to see and be with a boyfriend. She actually couldn't legally work here because she didn't have a work visa. Most of this happened in about a month, and the last time I saw or spoke to her was about 2 months later in a halfway house related to domestic violence, just before she flew back to the UK. I'd done everything I knew how to do in that first month, if I remember right, and settled on letting the lawyer she was talking to handle legal and technical advice. Just told her to let me know if she needed anything, and checked in on her every week or two until going to see her that last time. I don't know if she's doing good, but I at least know she's better off without that cruel bastard she was with here. When I was 13, I was at Disney World over Valentine's weekend. At Epcot, late at night, I overheard a couple discussing if they had time to ride Test Track before the fireworks, because the line was so long. They seemed really frazzled and stressed by it. I had 2 fast passes for it, since my dad doesn't like to ride it, so we always get 2, and I can ride twice. I was a shy kid, but I quietly walked up to them and handed them the passes without a word. They seemed really confused, but once they realized what was up, thanked me over and over. I just practically ran over to another ride and felt really awkward about. Now I just look back and hope I helped them have a better Valentine's Day. I met my girlfriend of the last year on the airplane home from a trip to Europe. She's the best woman I've ever met, and I have half a mind to wife her. I spent the first half of that trip abandoning my plans to bang the girl I met on the plane over there. They were the first 2 flights I'd taken since I was a little kid. I have no idea why people hate flying. I took a choir course at my uni that was meant for anyone with or without experience. Since I had a decent amount of musical knowledge and a pretty good ear, I took the role as the conductor of my group. Soon, other groups started asking me for help to improve and requesting me to conduct them. My group had the best grade possible in the 2 presentations, and we got nothing but compliments. None of us had singing experience, but together we created something really good, and that inspired me to keep singing in choirs, and now I'm considering studying for choral conductor after finishing my engineering degree. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe.